Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Flowering into 5D. Today I have an amazing person to chat with today. Her name is JstDee, and I'll just tell you a little bit about her before we get started. She is an international gospel singer, songwriter, author, and actress specializing in rhythm and gospel music or R&G music. Originally from New Jersey and now based in Florida, she began her music career in 2014, inspired by a divine calling to uplift and heal through her arts. JstDee is the author of the My Five Seasons book series and workbook, which guides readers on a journey of faith and personal growth. She has performed internationally, including in Amsterdam and Paris, and has shared the stage with gospel legend Eddie James. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yay. I always love, just random crossing paths, and I'm so just excited to connect with you. And I actually just grabbed your free preview
Oh,
my
nice.
seasons, and I am just so excited to dive into it. It looks so good and just so transformative. Well, I
Yes,
have to
yes.
know, like, what inspired you to create this My Five Seasons transformational journal series?
I moved down to Florida in 2010 and I started to transition in my life from the life of New Jersey to a better life down here in Florida. And in that time frame of the last 15 years, I have been collecting multiple quotes, whether it was from movies, from myself that I created, to different books that I have read, or different TV shows, or people that I have interacted with throughout my life, at least for the 15 years. And one day I was talking to my mentor and I told her, I said, when I get my doctorates, I'm going to write my first book. And she said, why wait? And
Mm,
that was the difference between now and the future, because a lot of times we always have to wait until we get to a certain point. But when she said, why wait? I didn't have an answer for it. I said, why am I waiting? So I started to put it together, and she helped me, guided me through how I've been setting up the journal books, because these are tools for personal growth, transformation, and these quotes have helped me through my own transformation and seasons.
love that, love that, love that. Just so excited to dive in. So, just speaking on music for a moment, I just wanted to know, like, what inspired you to start your journey as a gospel artist, and how has your faith shaped your music and your message?
Wow. So my music has definitely it started off as a roller coaster, because a lot of times, when God asked me to do an album for him in 2014, I literally told him, no, that's not for me. And I think that was the biggest mistake I ever did, was tell God no. So with that being said, he still kept pushing me, because I told him, I said, God, look, nobody wants to hear me sing. I don't sound like Beyonce. I don't sound like Kelly Price. I don't sound like nobody. And he said, okay, I'll wait. And he literally waited 3 years until 2017. I decided, or 20, at the end of 2016, going to 2017, I decided to start the album process. And the first place that God sent me was Canada to go
Mm.
sing. And I was like, wow, I'm going to Canada. And then the next year, once the album dropped, he sent me to Spain. So the reason why, I love the singing is because God is my manager at the end of the day. He pushes me to be the best I can be, as well as he wanted me to spread his love through my music. And that's where the music has stemmed from, is spreading God's love.
Mm. And you know what? I can totally hear that. Like I've listened to quite a few of your songs and your albums on Spotify, and
Hmm.
I just really love them. I like they just I don't know how to explain it. Like it's one of those things that you just can't really put your finger
Hmm.
on what it is, but it's just it feels so divine, you know?
Wow. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And you know what? I was listening to your music one day, specifically the song uh You and I came on. And my daughter
Oh,
was like, "Oh, this song." She's like, "I like this one," which like quick little side is my daughter is addicted to Frosty the Snowman. She won't listen to anything, but I know this sounds like so bizarre, but we don't give her any screen time. So, and my mom let her watch Frosty the Snowman, and now this is the only like cartoon she's ever
Hmm.
seen. So everything has to be like Frosty. And anyways, trying to get her to listen to like anything but like the 200
Hmm.
versions of Frosty the Snowman is nearly impossible. But she's like, "Oh, I like this one," and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be talking to the lady that sings this song," and she's like, "What? Really? That's so cool." So
How old is
yeah,
she?
she's 3.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. Well, I'm glad that you both love that song.
Yeah, I honestly like every song of yours that I've listened to. I love.
Oh,
I
thank
like
you.
save it, and yeah, like it's
Oh.
anybody who's listening, like please, like do yourself a favor and go listen to JstDee's music. You can tell it's
Thank
divinely
you.
guided, honestly.
Yes, I mean I love my music and I love when me and God works together, especially on the second album, Comfort. I think that album, me and God, due to the pandemic was happening, me and God really worked so closely together in 2020 because one, we wasn't able to do a lot outside. So
Mm-hmm.
I seek more of him in that time. And it was very powerful. Psalms 150, my everything, my seasons. Matter of fact, my seasons, the song off the second album, is part of the My Five Seasons book. So, so that song goes hand in hand with the series.
I love that. Yeah, I was like, hey, I see what she did there. Like, I love it. Actually, speaking, going back to the book series for a minute, I would love to know if you could just explain more about what the seasons are like, and just for those who don't know, because I think it's such a powerful, I don't want to say metaphor because it's more than that, but if you wouldn't
Mhm.
mind just explaining a little bit more, that would be great.
Oh yeah, sure. So the My Five Season series is all about personal growth, it's about transformation, and it's also about keeping yourself accountable.
Mm,
This is a journal workbook that is going to help you not only be truthful to yourself, but knowing that there's nobody else reading this besides you.
mm,
The goal for this book is to keep people accountable as well as letting them know that it's another season for them to reclaim. Whether it's blossoming in spring, whether it's the hot, fun summertime, whether it's the leaves falling, you start seeing different colors in fall. But the one thing about my five seasons that it's not just four seasons, it's five. And we all know that winter, spring, summer, fall. But the
mm,
last season is your season. Whether your season is happy or sad, you get to customize your own season at the last book. And that was one of the main things that I wanted to make sure people understood is that just because we have four official seasons, we still have a fifth one. As
mm,
well as a lot of people don't understand this, or not understand, but they don't know sometimes is that winter begins at the beginning of the year and it ends at the end of the year, January, December. So this is
mm.
a full circle of your transformation, your personal growth, your accountability to be able to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve in your next level. So this is what the season is all about.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's so important for people to know that life is cyclical. There we go,
Mhm.
cyclical. In that, like you said, like it starts and ends. Winter starts and ends at the beginning and end of the year, and I
Mhm.
just think that that's so powerful for people to know about themselves and just know like, okay, yeah, like I'm in winter right now, but that doesn't mean we're always going to be in winter.
Mhm. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. We always will not be in winter at all.
But there is also, and also for people to know that there is value for winter. That's what I really appreciated
Hmm.
reading through your preview, is that like there is value in rest, like there is value in all of these things. And I feel like we're always trying to get to the summer, or we're always trying to get to like, oh, let's go for the good stuff, but you
Yeah,
can't have the summer if you don't have the winter.
exactly.
Yeah, I
No,
love
you're
that.
absolutely right on that one. I do agree with you. One thing about the workbooks is that I want people to strive. I want them to be able to connect with their inner self.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times we don't get that time. Sometimes therapists, when you go to therapy, they give you a notebook, spiral journal, and say, "Hey, write down your thoughts." But then you have people out there, especially men. You have people out there that they be like, "Well, how do I start?" Well, how
Mm,
do I do this? What am I supposed to say? So that's why these journals are very important because I was able to put a quote and ask them questions and give them, and some depending on the book that you get, some of them have some examples in there for you to fill out. So it's a guided workbook to help you understand how to journal. I ask the questions of why, what's your next steps? List your takeaways? What did you take away from this, one quote to help you? And sometimes, in the winter book, I had a lady told me, she said that, she said, D, I was in page 8 and I filled it out, but then I went to page 54 and it was literally, I had to go back to page 8 to remember what I said because it was connected. I said, exactly, because I want y'all to understand whatever you said on this page, you're going to have to come back to it to make you understand, why. So it's been a very, very amazing journey with these books, and I'm super happy just to share with the world.
I can, again, divinely led, like it comes through in the pages. And I
Hmm.
just, I love meeting people who are just following spirit, who are just like
Hmm.
going with it. And, a lot of people I think are afraid to do that. They're afraid to let go control because, like, well, what if
Mm,
it doesn't go the way I want? Or,
exactly.
I would just like to know, and, for the people out there listening, um, how do you find that trust? Because, like I said, so many people are just like clinging, like, so I would just love to know, like, your process or your experience that has brought you to this point of just releasing control.
Releasing control of the
The
book or,
outcome, just the
oh, the outcome.
outcomes. Yeah, just like trusting the divine.
Mm. Well, for me, it took a long time. I'm not going to sit here and fluff and say, oh, I woke up one morning and it was like that. No, it took some time. One thing I had to realize is that everything that happens in life, I have no control of it, but I do have control of how I react to it.
Mm.
One of my mentors told me a formula, E plus R equal outcome. So the event plus the reaction equals the outcome. So I try to anytime I keep, going back to that as much as possible is whatever the event it was, plus my reaction. So my reaction is going to equal whatever the outcome of that event. So I try to make sure that my reaction is of this is what I can control. I can't control nothing else. Another thing that I do as well as I pray, I try to, keep God in the center of everything that I do. Every decision, I try to make sure that He is at the forefront because again, I can't control nothing but set my own actions. And so I try to tell people as much as possible is that look, your attitude shapes your lifestyle. And that is a quote in one of the books. Your attitude shapes your lifestyle. So when you step outside the door, whether you're on the phone with somebody, whether you're at work, remember your attitude shapes your lifestyle. And I try to remember that every day that I leave my house or even when I wake up in the morning.
I love that. And yeah, it's, I mean, I'm in Cambodia now, so I don't really have the, day-to-day experience of living in a Western lifestyle. But, from the outside, I see that there's a lot of victim mentality, of, life is so hard. Why does it happen? Why is all the bad stuff happening to me? And,
Hmm.
I think there's so much power in just releasing that, like, victimness and, like, yeah, but I can control my reaction. And that's so powerful,
Exactly. Yes, exactly. 100%. We can definitely control anything that has to do with us, but we can't control other people at all.
Mhm. Mhm. It's true. So I just want to change lanes for a second. We've talked about you being a singer and an author as well. You're also a songwriter, of course, an entrepreneur. So as someone who wears many hats, how do you balance creativity with running a business?
Whew. Wow. People, it's something I get that question all the time. They say, D, how do you do it all and still have time? I think it's more so I know you probably heard the phrase saying you make time for what's important. Or you make time for who's important in your life. So for me, I make time for the things that I love. And when you love the things that you do, time always finds itself.
Mhm.
I also play volleyball and tennis and stuff, so and I still find time for that. We have 24 hours in a day. I mean, 8 hours I work at a 9 to 5. I have another 8 hours before I have another 8 hours to go to sleep. So
Mhm.
in that 8 hour middle slot, I'm working on editing my books or posting or training or doing something that I love. And then I try to make sure I get my 8 hours of sleep as best as possible. But it's all about the things that you love. If you don't love the things that you do, then you will never have the time to do it.
Mhm.
So I love the singing, I love the acting, I love the music composing, I love the writing the books. So there's always been time in the day for me to do it. The part, and I'll be very transparent, the part that I'm having a little issue is family, keeping the balance with
Mhm.
my family on top of
Mhm.
that. But I feel as though that I'm getting better at it to where I make sure that I have time for them at the same time so that I can say, okay, now I have a work balanced lifestyle. But right now, for the things that I love to do, I have a lot of time for it. And for my family, it's kind of coming up to that level.
That's awesome. And you know what? I love your honesty because yeah, like, it really does sound like you're doing so much and you are, but and you're also completely right that you find time for what you love. And to be honest with you as well, I also struggle sometimes to find time for my family because I also love what I do and I just get wrapped in on it. And like if it's
Yeah.
not work, it's like I'm like a lifelong learner, so I'm always
Hmm.
learning something. And it's just nice to know that I'm not the only one that, struggles with that because
Oh,
sometimes I'm like,
no.
oh, sorry, mom.
Yeah, no, you're not by yourself. A lot of people, I mean, if a lot of people would be very transparent with themselves, they can really be honest and say, look, you know what, I don't have that much time for my family, and I need to try to make some, even if it's just 2 hours a day, will definitely help them and see a difference in them. Or if it's just one day out the week and you say this is family day. Matter of fact, I started last year this thing called Family Day. So every once a month the family we go out. It'll be us was three of us or five of us, and we go out. We go do things. So like for instance, 2 weekends ago, we went to a Orlando Valkyries game, which is a volleyball game.
Okay.
And it was just our family day. Sometimes we'll do like I think a couple months ago we did the Strawberry Fest, or we did the Blueberry Fest, or we just go corn whatever, or we go to a jazz festival or something. But every month is always going to at least one day out the month is family day where we just spend time with the family, So I started that. Of course, I would love to do it more often, but right now, one time and everybody looks forward to it. We never know what day it is, so it's always a surprise because I don't want to set a certain date and then we can't do it. But it's been really helpful. So I tell anybody if you want to take that idea, take it because it definitely helps.
That's such a good idea. I might have to get a family day
Yeah.
in there because, yeah, like I'm like, oops, sorry. I mean, I'm in Cambodia, but, with my immediate family, my husband and
Yeah.
my daughter. Um, Actually, speaking on family, I have a question I'd love your opinion about. So I've noticed that in the Western world that there's really a lack of elders. Like I know you mentioned
Mm.
you have a mentor, which I'd love to know more about as well. But I would just like to know like your opinion on that. Like, do you feel like there's a lack of eldership going on in your community? And also, I guess like if so, like what do you think can be done about it? Or if not, let me know.
So I would say I don't think it's a lack of it. I think it's a lack of awareness
Mhm.
because I have found so my mentor I know because her daughter was an actress of ours in one of our web series. And so pretty much, but she, before she became my mentor, she gave me so many different websites to apply for mentorships. There's one called score.org, where that they'll match you with people that's inside of your business, entrepreneur, whether it's, I don't know, like trucking, pet. pet grooming, whatever, they'll find they have different people, elders out there that will say, "Oh, hey, here is, Sam, and she does this, and then they'll connect with you whether once a month, every quarter, just to make sure and help you and find the resource that you need to grow your business." There's another one called NASDAQ. It's just like the S&P 500 for the Wall Street, but it's for women only, and pretty much it's called NASDAQ, and it's a course called the milestone circle, and pretty much that's another thing where you get a lot of different people from the different industries and stuff like that. Um, to help you understand how to navigate your entrepreneurship. So I feel as though that is not that it's a lack of, it's just a lack of knowledge that is out there.
Mm,
And if you want it, you have to go and find it. But there's a lot. They do a lot of like was it SBA, which is I think it's like a student business loan place. They also have mentorships too as well. So there's a lot out there. It's just people just gotta do their research and find it.
Nice, nice. And so you mentioned that you found your mentor through an actress that you were working with.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you had her as your mentor for?
Since 2025, I would say since 2022 when I first started. Um, yeah, 2022 when I first started writing the book.
Nice. That's so
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a little bit different here in Cambodia, because there's not really a lot of like setup for entrepreneurs and whatnot.
Hmm.
But here in Cambodia, like the family setup is quite different in that like the grandmother still lives with the
Hmm.
family, and like it's just a very
Gotcha.
cohesive unit, which in Canada, where I'm from originally, I didn't really see that a lot. Like my grandma
Mm.
didn't live with me. She lived half an hour away. And is it the same like in your community? Like, do you have a lot of like grandparents close by, or is everybody very spaced out, would you say?
Well, so my grandparents they passed away
Oh,
back a couple of years back. But my mom, she lives like not too far, maybe like 5, 10 minutes. But if my grandparents were alive, they lived in New Jersey.
okay.
So we're talking about, a 16-hour drive or a
Mm,
2 hour and a half flight. But family here in the United States, my opinion, I feel as though that it is spread apart.
mhm,
The most you might have is a mom or dad close by, maybe a couple of cousins, but you wouldn't see the whole family. Now, certain cultures, they believe in keeping family very close.
mhm,
But as far as Americans go, not so much.
mhm. What do you think? Like, do you think it would it have been nice to have like more family close by, or are you just kind of like, well, it's fine. Like,
Um, I have so me personally, it's like because sometimes, and this is my opinion, sometimes when you have family really close by, like really close, you could get distracted.
mm,
Because sometimes with family drama
mhm,
and so forth. So I like to keep a good distance. Like for instance, where I live at, I have my cousin who lives like literally up the road from me. How many times have I seen him? One time since he moved there.
mm,
Not on purpose, just because of life, his life, my life. Same thing with my mom. Like I said, this is my first time yesterday seeing my mom on Mother's Day in like maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
mhm,
But I talk
mhm,
to her on the
mhm,
phone,
mhm.
or I talk to my family on the phone. But as far as being close next to it, I'm more of a like, let's keep a safe distance, but still be close at the same time.
I totally understand what you mean.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of my grandma like being like next door. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it if family was like living next, like if my whole family was in the community and we had houses next to each other, I wouldn't be able to do it. I just would
Yeah,
not.
I'm out.
Yeah, it'd be too much. It would be too much.
I totally, yeah, I'm like same, same. Like I love my mom to pieces, but when we, meet up for holidays or whatever, I'm like 2 weeks, like we're
For 2 weeks.
see you next year, like we
See,
talk on the phone. But yeah, I completely hear you on that.
Wow, yeah, I'm trying to tell you, it's something.
So I'll just switch to something more on topic. Um, so you performed internationally and opened for legends like Eddie James. What lessons have you learned from these experiences that have influenced your artistry?
Mm. The one lesson I can tell you I definitely learned is no matter how much of a sound check you do, be always anticipate some sound engineering or some sound will be effective.
Mm,
That's what I because I no matter how many sound checks I do or practice with the sound people, it's always going to be a little glitch and you have to
mm,
just roll with it. Lucky for me, a lot of times when I do sing, I never forget I was singing at a church and um, the sound was just so out of whack as I was trying to sing the song with the backing track. And I said, you know what? Cut it off. I'll sing the song a cappella. And that's the beauty of it is that I don't need the music. I can sing a cappella, but the music helps to balance it out a little bit. But I always say that no matter how much you practice it and sound checking you do, just always have an unexpected moment where you can always pick yourself back up. And it never fails with me, no matter how. It just never fails. I can always pick myself back up, and that's what I learned, a long time ago.
hmm Love that. I love that. And I just, I'm just curious. So you mentioned singing in a church. Have you grown up singing in the church like your whole life? Like, is your family also singers? Like, tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I have on my mom's side, I have very musical inclined cousins and uncles. My mom sings opera. My grandfather sung opera. I did do a little dibble dabbling in opera when I was in high school. As far as the church, yes, I grew up in choirs, throughout New Jersey. Sung twice for the Ronald McDonald Fest with a group of, which is like a big stage with Kirk Franklin and the Wine Sisters and everybody. So my uncle, my mom's brother, he's played 7 instruments. His kids play 3 to 4 instruments. I play about 3 to 4 instruments. So we all kind of are musically inclined. The craziness is that we never actually perform together.
Mhm.
So that would be so I think that one of the things that I would love to do is maybe one day for all of us to do one song together or something like that. But that's in the near future.
I love that. I bet that would be so powerful.
Oh yeah, like now that I'm thinking about it, like I need to probably get on it. So, but my family is definitely music inclined, and I have sung in different choirs throughout my life. So that's where my music background comes from.
Love that. Love that. I'm not a great singer, but I still do sing anyways. And my dad is he is a singer-songwriter. But he's I think he's still in a band right now. But yeah, it's
Okay.
I've always loved music, but I've just never been really able to like do anything with it.
Wow. Oh, well, I tell everybody can hold a tune. If you can
Mm-hmm.
hold a tune and it feels good to you, then that's singing.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Well, and it's also too like, just because you're not like, like you mentioned, like Kelly Price or Beyonce, that doesn't mean that you
Hmm.
shouldn't sing because it's such a powerful healing tool for us to sing, to release this, things that can get stuck energetically. And, I singing is so, it's like medicine.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is. People don't realize it, but it really is. It's definitely medicine. It heals. A song can heal the most coldest heart in the world.
Mhm.
So it definitely can heal the most coldest heart in the world. And I'm glad that I am a part of that music that can heal people.
Definitely could because, obviously there's the opposite where it's not healing, it's hindering people.
Hmm.
And, I'll just say right away that, I used to listen to, mainstream music and I realized coming into my 30s that um that stuff was brainwashing and not a good
Hmm.
way. And
Exactly.
I'm so grateful that I recognize this because I really had no idea how deep it was brainwashing me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the subliminal, sometimes there's a lot of subliminal messages underneath music that people don't realize. So I try to keep my my music to a clean slate, for the most part. I listen to a lot of hip hop gospel. Um, I usually kind of look at, I love the music behind it. But I also do listen to R&B because I like the soulfulness and the jazz and of the certain artists like Jill Scott or Angie Stone.
Mhm.
Those are the kind of singers that I like to listen to.
Mhm. I also, yeah, like something that's a little bit more lighthearted and is not singing about something that you're like, wait, what? Like, I, what? Like,
I totally understand. Trust me, the music out here today is definitely different. But there's still good music out there at the end of the day.
definitely. And you are one of those artists.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my
I
pleasure.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So, it's honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been just having a wonderful time chatting with you, and I've really honestly learned so much, and I really am just so grateful that you took the time to speak with me today.
Definitely. Look, I am grateful too. But quick question. So what
Yeah.
is flooring in 5D or
Yeah.
flowering in 5D? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the name of my brand basically, flowering into 5D. And
Hmm.
what it is that so I love flowers, so that's the first thing. I love flowers. And 5D is like an evolution of consciousness. So
Okay.
3D is like this like divis I can't talk tonight for some reason. Divisive, like
Okay.
separating
Hmm.
hate, jealousy, greed, all of these like lower frequency
Oh.
emotions. And then
Hmm.
5D is like there's obviously a 4D as well, but 5D is where we're moving into love basically and connecting with spirit and just being more in touch with the divine. So basically
Nice.
my message is to help people to flower into 5D, basically moving away from those lower frequency things and moving up
Hmm.
into love.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, thank
That
you.
is truly amazing. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, because I
Yeah.
was wondering, I was like, man, I said, this is so, 'cause I've been on a lot of podcasts. I was just on one Saturday called Bombastic, Bostic podcast. And I was asking them what that meant too. So that's why, and when I seen your name, I was like, it's because these are some unique podcasts that I've been on. So I was like, I wonder what this one means.
Yeah. Yeah, now you know. And yeah, like it's just basically like all I do on this podcast is just have, free flowing, unedited, conscious conversations where we're talking about things that, really matter to people and not, you know, I don't know, things that
Mhm.
don't matter.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Okay. Well, that's
Yay.
awesome. That's good. Well, I enjoyed myself. I really have definitely enjoyed myself. And all that, Grace, you have been amazing.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say.
No worries.
So I'll just
Um,
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. Oh no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so if the people listening, if you want to connect with JstDee, I'll share her Instagram and her website with you. So it would be Instagram.com/IMJSTDEE. And website would be www.everythingjstdee.com. Everythingjstdee.com. Yay.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So do you have anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Yeah, on my website, if you all want to purchase one of the workbook journals, it's on Amazon as far as the paperback, but the spiral is on, you can purchase spiral for me. When you purchase a spiral, you get a customized pen for each season. So winter would be a blue pen, and then spring would be a pink pen, and Like, so this is kind of what the pen looks like.
Beautiful.
It says winter season on it. So then if you have the spring, it says spring season. And so it's a customized pen, and I ship that to you as well with the book. And look out for a course coming hopefully at the end of this year too as well.
Ooh, I love that. Love that. Love it. Maybe I'll have to have you back on so we can talk about the course.
Exactly.
I would love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you everyone for listening. Bye.
Bye, everyone.